Hi everybody, Adam here. Welcome back to our Lego room. In today's video, excited to walk you guys through a couple of new track modules that we have integrated into our tabletop and lower level layouts. As you may know from some of our recent videos, we've been working on adding new sidings for train storage and display, where it'll be, relatively easy to move trains out of onto the main line. That way we can have, sort of a maximum number of trains queued up and ready to go at any moment in time. And it should be relatively easy to move trains on and off the main line. And with that, we've also been looking at opening up some new pathways through our tabletop and lower level layout, just to allow us to not only run more trains at once, but also to give our trains a few different pathways to move through the different parts of our layouts. And the big piece of track that we've been using to sort of drive a lot of those new modules is the Trixbricks T-Junction module, a super useful track module that we have basically one of on the tabletop layout here, and we've got another full one on the lower level layout. And we've got a space for one on the far side of the lower level layout over there. That one's been scavenged for parts in the short term, so we're only doing sort of the one pathway through that, the one corner module over there, but eventually we'll get a full T-junction back on that section over there. So we've got those full-fledged T-junctions, but what we've been doing is breaking those down into a few different pieces that we can use. So you can see when we added our new corner module over here, we used half a T-junction on this side, the other half of the T-junction over there, and it gave us a new sort of supersized siding area, as well as an extension if we wanted to run a longer main line. We can do both of those things with this new set of track that is accessible via these awesome modules right here. And you can see that we've basically included another one of those partial T-junction modules here on the corner of the main line. So as you're coming along back into the home stretch of the main line track that goes past the rail yard here. For that track area, we've added another partial T-junction, which gives us two nice, reasonably sized siding areas that are over here that run past the grain elevator. Really happy with the potential of these. I think it should allow us to really quickly and easily move trains, another couple of trains on and off the main line. Easy to get trains back into that siding area, easy for trains to come out and immediately get onto the main line. So pretty happy about that. I think it should be a really cool new addition to this part of the layout here. And while I don't think the Arctic Explorer and the Spider-Man subway train are going to be the trains that live on this particular siding forever, I've got them there right now as a demonstration, and we're going to try running those trains out of there onto the main line, around the main line, and then show how they can get queued back up into the siding space there. So let's get those fired up. So with the subway car queued up first, we've got it connected to its powered up controller. So we're going to come over here. We will move that right there on the switch so that we're clear to come out and onto the inner mainline track. And we'll head the right way. So we're going to move out. Clear sailing on the main line there. Coming around. Oh, and we've got a train or a partial train on the track over there. Let's move that out of the way. So, mini crisis averted. We moved the cargo cars onto the rail yard track there. So if we start the subway car back up again, we should carry around the corner here on the main line. Come back around to the home stretch. And then if we stop, we should be able to, because we still have the switch set appropriately, we should be able to just back up into the siding space, which is really nice and cool. Should be, you know, like I said, it's a decent size there. At a minimum, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. It's about 4 mils modules worth of straight track there for the train to queue up on. And depending on where that signal bridge goes, we may have a 5th track in behind there, a 5th straight track, depending on if we need that space for something else. So you can get a decent sized train in there, easy to move off onto the main line like we saw, easy to get back into that little siding space. So, you know, I think a really cool bit of functionality / display area that we're unlocking here. Let's show the Arctic Explorer train there next. Okay, so we are now paired up with the Arctic Explorer train. So if we come out here, we've reset this switch, and now we just need to set this switch like so. And that will then allow us to pull out of the siding onto the main line. Now, these aren't the only sidings that I am working on here, just 2 more sort of in the big picture, which will give us additional space. We've got a number of sidings that are in progress on the lower level layout, so excited about the number of trains we should be able to queue up and have on display there and at the ready to run. But any space I can open up here on the tabletop layout, I think gives us just, you know, extra opportunities, which is cool. So we're coming along the backstretch there into the final set of curved track. And then back around to the main line home stretch here. And if we stop, then we should be able to back up again into the siding. And then we stop. And if we come back here, we can set the switch appropriately so other trains won't accidentally come back into the siding over here. But really, really cool functionality, I think. Really happy with how this chunk of track integrated over here, and excited about the opportunities that it will open up for us. Now let's take a look at where the other half of this particular T-junction component went. And that would be down here on the Winter Village loop. This is part of the lower level layout. As you can see here, we've got our Winter Village loop that we're working on. Allows us to run 2 trains over here around where our Winter Village will be located. But with this new track component in here, we can get both of those Winter Village Loop main lines access to the bigger mainline loop that goes around the sort of entire area that you can see over there. So we've shown in the past with we had one switch here originally, so the outer mainline track could access the bigger loop there. So now it's nice to have access from both tracks, so we can have trains coming in this way or going out that way. The trick, or the sort of the small issue that remains, and I think I talked about this in a recent video, is that this is cool, gives us access to the main line from over here, but if we have trains that come in off of the main line, they're going to start going counterclockwise around this loop, which means that they won't be able to access the main line via this particular track module here unless we reverse them out, and then once they're out on the main line over there, then start them running forward in the right direction. And that's totally doable, and that's probably what we're going to do, at least initially here, to start utilizing this and to get things moving forward. But it does raise the question in my head of, like, is there a way that we could introduce some other chunks of track here to just give us, greater flexibility, greater ease with moving trains around? And, like I've talked about, just give us some different track paths that we can use as well. And kind of the idea that's floating in my head at the moment that I think we might proceed forward with is to add basically another half T-junction component over on this end over here. And so basically we'd have straight track that would come out this way. And then if we add another T-junction component over here on the case, basically would be the siding area where that would connect in. I think it would roughly come across kind of about right here. And you can see we're kind of roughing in some sidings over here that are running parallel to the mainline track. We could very easily connect in there. The issue that will come up is that we're connecting to the siding and not to the main line. Now, I think, assuming that roughly where the Disney train is there, if that's where we're connecting up from the Winter Village, I think we've got more than enough track space here. We've got roughly 3 to 3.5 mils modules of space to have a crossover to let the trains out of the siding and onto the removable bridge module before basically we run out of real estate there. It would be possible theoretically for the trains to come onto the siding here, and then depending on what we do to get from the siding to the main line, they could always run partway down here, back it up onto the main line, and then carry on the main line. But wherever possible, I'm trying to avoid some of those very manual sort of go forward, go backwards, go forwards again. Entirely doable and could be a good solution, but if we can get something where it just kind of smoothly runs from module to module, that would be ideal and give us the greatest capability, functionality, however you want to word it. So that's kind of the different things I'm looking at. I'm curious if people have other thoughts or ideas. It is theoretically possible. I just don't think we've got enough room to add like a Y up at the top there to give the trains a couple different ways to exit out off of the top part of the Winter Village loop up there to the main line. The Winter Village Loop and that T-junction on the main line are pretty close, and I don't think we can squeeze enough track in there uh, to make it all work. But that is something else that I know people have raised and I've been thinking about. But at least at the moment, this is the kind of this direction down here and involving this part of the mainline siding and mainline track is kind of where I'm leaning at the moment. So we'll see. We're gonna have to do another Tricks Bricks order in the near future. So as we head towards that, we'll contemplate what the initial solution will be for this problem. Doesn't need to be the final solution. We can keep trying things out and see what works best, but that's kind of the next step that I'm thinking about down here to give us the best possible experience and the most functionality that we can explore and play around with down here on the lower level layout. So overall, really happy with the progress we are making on the tabletop and lower level layouts with these track updates. I think the T-junction continues to give us a lot of amazing modules, both the, partial modules like this, as well as the full-blown modules with the entire T-junction in there. Really happy with how those are performing and the capability it is giving us around the layout. Excited with the increased train capacity on the tabletop layout and the ease with which I think we're going to be able to start moving trains around the layout. And, that includes running trains around the main line, but also moving trains on and off to get different trains queued up to run. So excited about that. We will have some videos upcoming where we do more train running around the tabletop layout as well as the other layouts. I think the lower level layout is coming along really well. Happy to have that milestone point reached with the two Winter Village mainline tracks having access to the bigger mainline loop. The next big thing that I'm working on down there is the additional two mainline loops on the bigger section of track there. We're making some pretty good progress on that. So hopefully we will soon be able to run 4 trains at once along the main lower level big loop. Should be a lot of fun. And a lot of stuff on the go here on the tabletop layout as we tidy things up, get modules reintegrated into the layout. So lots of cool stuff ahead. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so that you don't miss out on any of those upcoming videos. And thank you very much for watching. We will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.